The purpose of using modified Boxplot is to detect the outliers. So let's say we have 40 people in the class, and then they took a test, and then the scores are pretty disappointing. So we have 49 people got a failing score, so very low score. 49 people in the classroom got a very low score, and then one person got a perfect score. So for the first 39 numbers, you see scores like 50%, 40%, 20%, 10%, right? But however, one person got 100%. So if you look at a list of 40 numbers, you might say, hey, the 100% looks like an outlier to me. So outlier means an unusual observation, something that doesn't look right compared to everybody else. But what we have done so far is we look at a data set and then we point out that a number doesn't look right, that number looks unusual compared to everybody else. So this is only an observation, that is not mathematical. So we in modified Boxplot, we will prove that number is an outlier. So the first thing you do is you have a data set, right? Do you just jump right into the five number summary? The answer is no. You have to sort the data because the Q1, Q2, and Q3, they are about position. So the position matters. That means you have to sort the data in ascending order. So this one, we don't have too many numbers to work with. But what if you have 100 numbers? Do you want to sort them by hand? If you do the sorting by hand, sort means you sort the data in ascending order. Ascending order. What is ascending order? Means from smallest to the biggest, like 1, 2, 10, 20, 90. This is in ascending order. So you either do it by hand or you can use technology to help you. So let me go over the technology part. So to do this, first you have to enter the data to your graphing calculator. This works for graphing calculator only. If you have a scientific calculator, the one that doesn't allow you to graph, that is not going to work. So we have to go to stat. You hit the stat key and then you hit edit, the first option, edit. And then you see that you have 6 lists, right? So we are going to put the data in L1, which is this one. So we type -20, not minus, negative. The negative key is between decimal and enter. So -20, and then we type -4, 0, 40, 46, 48, 56, 59, 170, 68, 69, 74, 78, 160, 150, 88, and 61. Of course, you want to check your data because if you enter a wrong number, basically you will mess up the entire problem. So let me go back to check my data real quick. So 61, 88, 150, 160, 78, 74, 69, 68, 170, 59, 56, 48, 46, 40, 0, -4, and then -20. And then I will ask this graphing calculator to sort the number for me. So what I have to do is I have to go to second mode to quick second and then mode. And then you go to stat. Do you see sort A? You select sort A. And then it returns to the home screen. Which list do you want to sort? I want to sort L1. So do you see that in the 1 key, there is an L1, right? So you click second and then you click 1. Close parenthesis for that. You will see that the sorting is done. So in your graphing calculator, it should return the word done. Done means the data is now sorted. So this is in ascending order. Take a minute, write down. So we have -20, -4, 0, 40, 46, 48, 56, 59, 61. Okay, they don't allow me to view the whole list in here. So if you want to look at the whole list, you have to go to stat and then go back to edit. So the whole list is there. So -20, -4, 0, 40, 46, and then 48, 56, 59, 61, and then 68, 69, and then 74, and then 78, and then 88, 150, and then 160, and then 170, and that's it. So you have 17 numbers. So the sample size, assuming that is equals, that is a sample, so we have 17 numbers. All right, and then how do you find the 5-number summary? You go to stat, you hit the stat key, and then you push the right arrow. You go to calc, C-A-L-C, calc, and then you use one variable stat. So you take one variable stats. Oh, actually you do have to quick first. I don't want to do the one variable stats here. So let's clear that. Second mode to quick. I do that on my home screen. Stat, calc, one variable stats, L1, the frequency list, just ignore it, and then I hit calculate. So and if you press the down arrow, they show you the 5-number summary. So you have a minimum is 17. I'm going to fill out the table right here, but the color is too light. So let me use red, 17. Oh, actually not 17, 20. The minimum is -20, and then 43. This is also known as Q2, 61, 83, and then 170. So we have -20 minimum, 170 maximum. And why is this the median? Because the sample size is odd. So where is the median? The median is the 9th value, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then this is Q median, so it divides the data into 2 equal pieces, 8 numbers on the left and then 8 numbers on the right. And then what about Q1? So Q1, there are 8 numbers on the left of Q2, right? So Q1 is right over here. So if you take 40 plus 46 divided by 2, you get a 43. And then Q3 is right here. If you take 78 plus 88 divided by 2, you get 83. So that's how you get the 5-number summary. And then to find the outliers, we have to prepare the lower cutoff and the upper cutoff. The calculator will not prepare that for you. All right, so let's do B. So B, to do the lower cutoff and upper cutoff first, I have to find the interquartile range, which is known as IQR. That is equals to Q3 minus Q1. So Q3 is 83 minus 43 equals to 40. And then the lower cutoff is equals to Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. So we have Q1, which is 43, and then minus 1.5 times 40, that equals to -17. And then the upper cutoff is Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. So that is equals to Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. Don't mess up Q1 and Q3. If you mess up Q1 and Q3, part B will be messed up, and then the graph, the box plot will be messed up. So that is equals to 143. How do we use the -17 and 143? So here is how. Any data less than -17, they are outliers. So we have -20 less than -17. So -20 itself is an outlier. For the 143, any data greater than 143 is an outlier. So we have 150, 160, 170, they greater than 143. So that means we have 4 outliers. So let's fill out the blanks. This is a -17, this is 143, this is a -20, 150, 160, and then 170. And then the last step is you have to sketch the box plot. But before we do so, -20 was the minimum, 170 was the maximum, but now they are an outlier. So we have to look for another minimum and another maximum. Let's switch color for that. So other than -20, what is the second smallest value? The answer is -4. So this is now my minimum. So 170, 160, 150, they are all outliers. So my maximum is 88. Do not go back to change part A. Okay, part A, whatever is in there is done. We are updating the information. So the graph -20 is an outlier. So I will use a big star. So that is -20. And then -4 is my minimum. So this is -4. And then 43 is my Q1. So we draw a reasonable distance because we don't have a graphing paper, so I can use a perfect scale. So this is a Q1 and then Q2 and then Q3. And then maximum is 88. So where is my interquartile range? So we build a box right here. So that is my middle 50% of the data. And then on the very right hand side, we have 3 outliers: 150, 160, and 170. 160 and 170. So this is minimum, Q1, Q2, Q3, maximum. The stars are outliers. Are you able to, can we do this in our calculator? The answer is yes. So what you have to do is you have to go to second, and then you go press the Y equal, the key right above second. So we go to second, we go to Y equal. You should see a different menu. So if you go to second Y equal, do you see that you have plot 1, plot 2, plot 3 in your calculator? Only plot 1 is on, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to turn plot 2 and plot 3 off. I cannot show you that right there because this menu is a little bit different. So in order to get the graph, I only want plot 1 to be turned on. So if they are all off, no worry, you are ready to go. So go into plot 1. If your plot 1 is off, just put the cursor on and then click enter. So now plot 1 is on. And then the type you have to pick modify boxplot. So modify boxplot is right here. Right here. Do you see that there is a boxplot with 2 dots on the right? That is a modify boxplot. And then, so let's see this one. Okay, this one looks like I can only turn 1 on at a time. So graphing L1, somehow they don't let me do this. Second Y equal. Do they let me do it? Okay, so X, I want to put the data in L1. I want to do a modified boxplot. So that's my preparation, and then there is a mark, right? The mark is do you want a star, a dot, or a plus for the outlier? So you pick your choice, and then the frequency FREQ, that one, keep that as a 1. So in your calculator, once you press zoom, the zoom key, doesn't look like we have a zoom key right here. So zoom and then 9, you will be able to get your graph. So let's see if a graph will work. This one is pretty hard to see. It's like right here. So that is my modified boxplot. So if you do this in your own graphing calculator, the result should be so much nicer. But to me, I will just do this by hand. It is not a tough job to do. All right, so that will be all for this problem. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one, we have another data set. I want to do the same procedure. So first, let's enter the data. So we have a stat edit. So I am going to put this data in L2. So let me enter the data: -20, -4, 28, 30, 34, 37, 39, 62, 46, 49, 55, 41, 78, 90, and -35. Double check my data because I don't want to make a mistake. 78, 155, 49, 46, 62, 39, 37, 34, 30. 28, -4, -20, and 100. Good. Next, sort them. We go to second mode to quick, and then we go to stat sort A, and then I type second 2 because I put my data in L2, no longer L1, and then you will see the work done on your calculator. But in this one is a little bit different. The system is a little bit different. So they actually show me a portion of the data. So to check the entire list, I have to go to stat, edit, and then L2 to check out the entire list. So let's drop this down on my paper. So we have -35, -20, -4, 28, 30, 34, 37, 39, 41, 46, 49, 55, 62, 78, 90, 100. I guess that's it. So this is the last one, right? Do you see 16 on the left? That means your sample size is equals to 16, and then this is even. So 16 divided by 2 is 8, right? So that means the median is the average of the 8th and the 9th value. So before we do the work by ourselves, let's ask the calculator to do it. Second mode to quick. Second mode. And then we go to stat, calc, one variable stats, L2, second 2, frequency list, we enter nothing. Just go right into calculate and then press the down arrow. You will be able to see your 5-number summary. So that is -35, 29, 40, 58.5, and then 100. So Q2, the median, is the 8th and the 9th value, right? So that is the 8th and the 9th value. So this one you have 39 plus 41 divided by 2, that equals to 40. So this arrow is my median. So we have 7 numbers on the left, 7 numbers on the right of the arrow. So that means my Q we have 8 numbers on the left, 8 numbers on the right. So my Q1 is right here. This is Q1. And then my Q3 is right here. So Q1, you take 28 plus 30 divided by 2, you get 29. Q3, you take 55 plus 62 divided by 2, you take the average of them, you get 58.5, and then we have the minimum and the maximum. The lower cutoff and upper cutoff, that piece we have to do the work by ourselves. So for part B, to do lower and upper cutoff, first we need to get the interquartile range, IQR, that is Q3 minus Q1, which is 58.5 minus 29, that is equals to 29.5. And then the lower cutoff is Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. And then the upper cutoff is Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. So Q1 we have 29 minus 1.5 times 29.5. Q3 we have 58.5 plus 1.5 times 29.5. Let's see. This one we have negative 15.25. The other one we have 102.75. So we fill in the blank, negative 15.25 and then 102.75. Okay, do we have any value less than negative 15? The answer is yes. We have negative 35 and negative 20. They are less than negative 15.25, so they are outliers. All right, so negative 35 and then negative 20. Anything greater than 102? Yep, we have, hold on. Do we? Nope. The biggest value is 100. So the 102.75 does not detect any outlier for you. Okay, so since on the left side, we took these two numbers as an outlier, So what is the minimum? Without considering those two numbers, then this is now my minimum. Do not go back to change your answer in part A. That is not necessary. We can move on to the graph. So we have negative 35 and negative 20, and then the minimum is negative 4, and then the Q1 is 29, and then median is 40, and then Q3 is 58.5. This is my middle 50% between the distance between Q1 and Q3, and then the maximum is 100. So this is a max, this is the min. We have Q1, the median, and Q3. Notice, let me give you let me say one more thing right here. This two numbers, they do not belong to the box plot. Again, they do not belong to the box plot. They are numbers that helps us to detect outlier. They are not minimum, not maximum. They are just a number that helps you to do a job. After the job is done, we don't need them anymore. So there is no way to put those two numbers, the lower and upper limit, in your box plot. No way, right? Make sure you don't make this mistake on the test. All right, so that will be all for the box plot. So I will see you all in the next lesson.